YouTube, Awesome Writer here with a Power Rangers theory video based off of both Once and Always and Cosmic Theory on the idea of surrounding the idea of it potentially setting up more Once and Always or Power Rangers specials set in the main continuity. Because as we know, rumor has it, not rumor has it, it's basically official as of this moment that the current continuity is at least on pause, but pretty much over. They called the episode The End. So, for now, whatever's going to happen next will likely be some sort of reboot, whether it's the new one that they've been talking about or they shelve it indefinitely. But regardless, it's supposed to be the end for now. But they also, always have the possibility of going back to the old continuity for specials and stuff. And there was story stuff that left the door open a little bit for more stories. And I wanted to talk about that and talk about the potential for that. So, both in terms of the show, in the universe, the potential for those stories, but also the plausibility of it in the meta sense of the franchise, Hasbro-wise. So, if you don't remember, way back when, in 1993, in Once and Always, one of the key plot points was that Billy's been trying to bring back Zordon. The idea is that he thinks, or he thought, that he was in the ether somewhere, when he burned off his good wave, sort of like the way Rita was brought back, because he accidentally brought Rita back, and you found out that her evil essence was in the ether, and that's how she was brought back. And that was a main part. And they really focused on it. That was a huge thing for Billy about that mentor relationship. They really literally focused on the tube a bunch. And then in Cosmic Fury, it didn't come up a ton in regards to Billy until the very end, where Ion kind of entered this weird midway point grid thing, limbo, where he spoke with someone that looked like Zato, which was heavily implied to be Zordon. For whatever reason, he didn't have his memories, but they clearly implied it with the blue eyes that made the power protect you, the way he says Power Rangers and Zed were familiar names. It was 99% totally Zordon. And then Ion, that's where he learns the phrase, may the power protect you. And he says it later, I think it was Ion that said it. And then Billy's like, well, where did you hear that? It was just somebody had, literally from anybody. But we all say it, seriously. And especially in the special, people said it a lot. But Billy takes that to mean it was Zordon. So he's like, wait, so you met Zordon? You have to tell me everything. And they, leave it there for a second of Billy wants to know more about this. And then there's a couple lingering shots on Billy. As everyone else is really happy, he just looks really contemplative. Or contemplative? He's contemplating stuff. I've heard it both ways. Anyway, so yeah, they clearly set that up. If you watched Once and Always, he was looking for a way to find Zordon, and then they continue oh hey, Zordon is actually out there. We see it, and then Billy knows about it, and then just the way they linger on him. For all intents and purposes, it was meant to be a finale. I think that was just meant to leave the door open, kind of like RPM. They thought the series was ending then, but they left the Venjix thing on. But I wanted to talk about, could that mean we get more? Within the universe, I think that's interesting. I'm still on the side of not bringing back Zordon, not because, again, I didn't have an emotional investment in his sacrifice. I didn't think he had some sort of hero's journey that led him to that moment. I just think it's unnecessary. I was actually hoping in Cosmic Fury there was going to be an arc for Billy about learning to let that go. And maybe that could be the focus of a future special. I'm hoping if we see this story in any form, it's about letting that go. It would be nice for him to be able to, maybe him and whoever else is with him, to be able to see Zordon in that ether. I honestly thought that might happen in this episode, in the Cosmic Fury episodes, rather. But that would be cool. I wouldn't mind that. I think I brought that up in my theory video about if Zordon was going to come back, of if they find a way for them to have kind of a conversation, almost like a Force Ghost-esque thing. This thing was very actually Harry Potter, now I think about it, the Dumbledore thing. Regardless, I wouldn't mind that, whether they get, one of the actors that played Zordon or somebody else to stand in. I wouldn't mind them having a conversation that encourages him to let go, gets some of the original cast to say goodbye, but I don't think they should bring him back. But it certainly leaves the door open for a potentially interesting next story, in whatever form that takes. I don't know. That's what's curious, is right now they couldn't pick it up really quickly because they've shut down production in New Zealand, and as of this moment, as far as we know, they don't have a current home base for producing PR. They very well could have made a deal behind the scenes we don't know about before the strikes and stuff, or, are in talks, but as of right now, we don't know, they haven't made a deal for any facilities or anything like that, so they couldn't be oh, let's just pick up production in New Zealand because it's all gone. I'm sure they have the props, the suits and the alpha stuff. I don't know how much they kept from the sets, to be honest, because I know when series wrap or leave studios, sometimes they completely just demolish the sets. Sometimes they take certain pieces, because they did build the Angel Grove juice bar set and then the new command center. So I don't know what they kept from that or anything like that. But the point is if that happens, it couldn't happen quickly. But I am curious, if it would be possible. As of right now, as of this recording, supposedly we're going to get the reboot at some point in the nearest future. Now, it's all very up in the air, admittedly. There's been a lot of reasons why it's delayed, as I mentioned before. and again, I've said this in many videos before, but this reboot could very well start development again once the strikes are officially over. I mean, right now, as of the time I'm recording this, the writer's strike is solved. It's just the actors one, I think, that's still up in the air. But you know what I mean. Once the dust settles on that, that could very well happen in the next couple of years. Or I'm preparing for the possibility that it'll get shelved for a long time. But the franchise will eventually come back. I'm confident of that. But I am curious, like, let's say they do the reboot or not, what the chances are of them doing individual little specials like that. I wouldn't be mad at that. You know, I, for one, am okay with them doing their reboot stuff for a while and just focusing on that, you know, regardless of what that means for the main continuity. Just give that a shot, regardless of how long it takes. But I'm not opposed to them keeping a version of the main continuity around in the form of specials. Now, I'm unsure of why it would happen, just for a couple reasons, because, you know, as a lot of people have pointed out, it would be great to have multiple productions going on for, like, the reboot show, a version of the show we know now, maybe even something animated, but I don't think Hasbro feels secure enough about the franchise to have multiple productions going. It just doesn't seem like it's as much of a priority or as successful for them to warrant having more than one thing in production. That's my opinion right now. I think that's what's happening. But in the future, and they also probably don't want to confuse the message, even though, like, if they kept the specials kind of on the kid side, regardless, I don't think that's a terrible idea for the future, if they can somehow keep it separate and trust the public to understand, as if there's a huge public for it. But I wouldn't mind that. Do the reboot, your new take, your new universe, all that, and then, you know, in lieu of the show, you know, every once in a while, have an hour-long special like Once and Always. Unfortunately, they would probably be primarily MMPR related, because that's what sells. You know, you could do one about the search for Zordon. You could do one about Min building a new generation or something like that. I would hope, if they did it, that because they set up this Ranger network, which is actually really cool, that, like, you could include other Rangers every now and then. You know, like, have a special where he's working with Wes from Time Force, or I don't know, Joel, the Sky Cowboy. Yes, let's do it. No, throw all this theory out. We're doing a Joel, the Sky Cowboy spinoff. That's it. Power Rangers is canceled. It's all about Joel now. Joel. Anyway, no, but that would be kind of cool. That is one thing I really liked about what Once and Always and Cosmic Fury did, was they set up this Ranger network and this idea that Rangers are active when we're not seeing them. That, in combination with kind of leaving these ideas up in the air, kind of helps me think of that universe still going and having adventures when it's off the air. But I like that interconnection, because it does leave the possibility, if they ever do this, to, like, bring in other Rangers that more hardcore fans will know, but not in a way that will interrupt it for MMPR. But I don't know. I think that's interesting. I also bring it up because Once and Always seemed to do pretty well. You know, it's not like it dominated the charts for a long time or the conversation, but it did pretty well. And I feel like if they ever went back to the main continuity, either after a reboot, you know, if it fails, or during, that would probably be where they would go, just because it seems more of a slam dunk, especially if they can still get the cast. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting, and I'm also, the last thing I want to say, I'm curious, like, in regards to leaving that open, I'm curious if it was just a, hey, let's leave this open, you know, or was it like, did Hasbro say, hey, leave this open? Or was it both? I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you like to see that? Would you like to see, number one, the story for the search for Zordon to continue? Number two, would you like to see potentially reoccurring hour-long specials or 45-minute-long specials, kind of Once and Always-ish style? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.